Hey everyone, what is up? It's Pauline. Welcome back to my channel. Hope you like the new intro. Hi, how are you doing? So we're going to get into some drama today because shit was popping off all over the place last night on Twitter and Instagram. Let's get into it. Keemstar. Now, Keemstar said he was going to be having Trisha paytas on the Mum's Basement podcast. Now, of course, that has caused a lot of friction between Klein, Trisha paytas, and also Klein's mum even chimed in, calling Trisha a weasel and saying that she wouldn't be seen dead at their wedding and everything like this. It is popping off. Now, honestly, this is kind of sad to see because obviously Trisha is marrying Moses, Hila's brother. So Ethan and Trisha are going to be related once Trisha and Moses are married. And of course, you've got Donna Klein, Ethan's mum, chipping in, calling Trish a weasel, all this stuff. It's really, really messy. Donna is allegedly also accusing Trisha of something bad happening with Hila. I'm not going to get into that because that's kind of personal stuff. But of course, Trish, you know, goddamn well, Trish went off on TikTok on a whole rant, also posted multiple tweets about the situation last night. Here's what Trish had to say.
My going on Mom's Basement was not attacking Ethan. I had my own issue with Keemstar. I made the first video towards Keemstar. Ethan inserted himself in it and his channel got banned. Keem did not do the strike on his channel. Once again, me going on another person's podcast does not mean I'm pro them. I like to have discussions with people, especially about people I disagree with. I like to have open discussions. I like to have clear air. Again, that's how I met Ethan, was when he did a video trashing me. I tried to go on GABBIE's podcast to make some sort of peace. I have my own issues with Keem that I can talk about. Ethan lied to his huge fan base about me wanting to fire crew when that did not happen. He admitted it didn't happen. He screenshotted my private text and sent him to his crew to villainify me, to make me look awful. If you want to talk about her and people doing stuff out of spite, this Trisha paytas for GABBIE and was the first families after our frenemies ended. In the podcast, they talk about me being the same as GABBIE HANNA. This was the most triggering shit for me at the time. I met Ethan. I went on his podcast for the first time after he did a video saying that I looked like a WWE wrestler about to slam down, that I looked like a corpse sitting in my casket. And I still went on his podcast because I believe in having healthy debates with people, discussions, figuring out who this person is. And at the end of the day, it's like my job. It's what I do. I talk to people. I went on GABBIE HANNA's podcast after she told my boyfriend at the time that I had herpes. And I went on there because I really genuinely wanted to know she was sorry. She cut a lot of that out. I was like, do you have any remorse about that? Like, don't you see that I was trying to have this discussion about like how she couldn't see that was like the most disturbing thing someone can do. You think I go on Keemstar's podcast and I'm just like, I love you. You are so, you don't think I call him out on this shit? Face himself was there. I was like, dude, that's toxic. There's toxic shit. There's toxic shit he's done. I don't shy away from debate and discussion. Ethan hasn't talked to me. We have not talked personally since Frenemies ended. Ethan continues to let people hate on me over lies he told in his videos. I told Keemstar straight up, like, I'm not pro Keem. I said, I'm more team Ethan. I'm not pro Keem. And we're not going to be friends after this. Like, I say that on the podcast. Like, it benefits people a lot more to have, you know what, when Ethan was going to debate Steven Crowder, I was so excited about it because I love when people can have debates and discussions and like opposite opinions. That's why I like people like The View and people, you know, people liked Frenemies because we were opposites that had different opinions. Logan and KSI did a podcast together and got 10 million views. Me and GABBIE did a podcast together and it was her most viewed pod. I think it's healthy to sit down and talk to a person. Especially Keem and Ethan's beef, it's becoming like, it's always became more serious. They lost sponsors last summer. This summer, they're like, you know, Ethan got a strike. Like, I wish Ethan and Keemstar could like talk because I think it would help a lot. But I've always gone on people's podcasts. I need to stay relevant. That's how my job has worked. I've gone on everyone's podcast and I'll go on Jeff Wittick's. Ethan himself has said that he would have James Charles on his podcast. Okay, you're gonna have James Charles, who's an actual P word, but you can have a discussion with Keemstar. Like I remember everybody was against having Jeff Wittick on Frenemies, and I was like, no, we should have a discussion. Like, that is the whole point. You're gonna call out people, you're gonna have issues with people, like, have a discussion, see where this person is coming from. People flip it, oh, if he had David Dobrik, Jason, I hope he does. Like, I have those discussions with those people. I think that's a huge thing. It's just crazy how quick people judge. Like, I am now pro Keemstar. Like, whenever I ever said that, like, what? Keemstar is very nice in person, the way Ethan was very nice to me in person the first time I met him, you know? Like, I called out gross behavior, the tweeting the pictures. I was like, that is gross behavior. Like, why did you do that? You don't have to make some looks. Like, I call it out. We did our final episode of Frenemies to have, like, closure and peace. And then when he didn't air it, I was like, wow, you're going to air my breakdowns, but you can't air one thing that you did wrong? Like, ugh. I have animosity in me still for Ethan, the way I do with David and Jason. Why? Because they can't admit they did something wrong. Like, I admit I'm in the wrong, but Ethan wasn't perfect in the situation. Neither was David and Jason, and I hang on to that because they don't think they did anything wrong, and they're happy to let people hate on me for something that just wasn't true. He admitted in that final episode that he screenshotted my text and sent them to the crew, and that's where all things started. That he had made some mistakes, but he can never show that. He can never prove that, and he has to blame other people and it's just like. And I will always hang on to that resentment. If someone can just admit that there was some wrongdoing, there's some closure, there's some peace, I can move on. And like, that's why I'm still talking about David and Jason to this day, because they can't admit it. I don't have that closure. And it's not even closure. It's just taking accountability when someone can't admit their wrongdoings or that they lied about something, or it just frustrates me to no end. So while I have resentment towards Ethan in that last episode and him just like really not giving a shit that I'm getting so much hate, and the same thing he did with my sister uploading her TikTok when she deleted it, like I do have resentment for that. Not everything I do is about him. It's long gone. The way he inserted himself into me and Keemstar's drama, being like they're going against each other, like inserting it into our thing, like he did that to himself. You know, so naturally it's going to be brought up because he did a video about it and that's the video that got removed or whatever. My initial video about Keemstar had nothing to do with Ethan. I didn't mention Ethan in it. He was on a Twitch saying that he knew how much I made on all my websites and stuff and how this other girl was making way more than me. He's constantly taking jabs at me. His parents talking about my weight. His parents saying I'm just like GABBIE, HANNA, when he knows how triggering that is to me when I begged him not to. And he puts me in the same freaking thumbnail. And then he did it again. He's been complaining that I talk about him, but then he did it again a week ago, putting my name and picture in the thumbnail. It's the hypocrisy for me. I think about this. Ethan had no problem airing 3 of my mental breakdowns where I literally lost my shit and went out without door. He had no problem. Why? Because I was in the wrong. I was 100% in the wrong of those. And up until the last episode, yeah, I acted shitty. But then that final episode where we're talking peaceful and he admit he did some shit and that he straight up lied, because I had him, we sat there, I recorded the whole thing because I know people fucking edit shit, and I was like, find me this, and he was searching, he was trying to find where I said I wouldn't show up if Dan was there. I was trying to see where it was, like it didn't, and like it just sucks because he's like, you know what, yeah, I fucked up too, and it's like that's all like like I would have needed to hear publicly, but I'm still getting bashed for it. I'm still all this stuff. Even now, me going on a podcast has nothing to do with Ethan. I've talked about the situation on other podcasts, but because it's Keemstar, it's like, oh, like this makes me sad. I've been a YouTuber 15 years. I've been around before everybody. This is how I stay relevant. This is what I do. I talk to people. I have discussions. So I started this. I had an issue with Keem and his relationship because it triggered something in me. I started this video. It was between me and Keemstar. So when Keem's like, will you go on my podcast the same way? Ethan had asked me when we had beef the same way. GABBIE, HANNA had asked me when we had beef. I said yes. I would go on Jeff's. I would go on David's. I would go on anybody that I've had issues with because it can go bad. It can go up. I just want to have discussions. I think it's what people should do. Because I truly think people do change. And I think Ethan is the prime example of that. He did a video. The first video he ever did about me was making fun of me, Tana, Nikita, saying they look like Twinkies, whales, all this stuff like that. And I do believe he's changed. And you know what? I'm going to take credit for that. I don't think he was talking about Lana Rhodes' peanut, all this stuff, just like degrading women based off their looks, right? And he's not like that anymore. And I truly do believe he's changed. And I'm going to give myself a little credit because I went on that podcast. We did become friends. We had a whole podcast together. And I think he grew and changed. And I think that's the beauty of having discussions with people. I don't care how many people are like, just get over it, get over it. I don't have to get over shit. I don't have to get over shit, whatever. I'm sorry, I don't. This is something that eats at me daily. Not just the hate comments, not just thing, but that like the way he presented me at the end, and then just he corrected it at the final episode and then just decided, no, we're going to scrap it because blaming other people once again, never him taking like just being like that he's a coward. But this is just another gross attempt at making something about him when it's not. We had a shitty ending, but I'm not going on all these podcasts to spite him. I did this before him. I talked about whoever I want to talk about, whoever is affecting me, whatever's going on. Frenemies was a huge thing. Frenemies ending is a huge thing. Like, why can't I have a platform to talk? You talked all you wanted about me. Like, I'm not allowed to talk? And I get I had issues with Keemstar. I've called out my issues with Keemstar. We're not best friends. Like, what? People haven't even seen this episode where Keemstar even admit that he's been ignorant about mental health. We had these conversations on it. Damn.
So now a lot of people are criticising Trish for their actions, saying that, Trisha was mad when Ryland Adams and Shane Dawson had Jeffree Star on their podcast. Trish started feuding with Ryland and Shane just after that. Now, Trish going on Keemstar's mum basement with FaZe Banks. That is a direct jab at Ethan, of course. So after all this drama that happened with frenemies, the fallout between Trish and Ethan's taking this really badly. It's sad to see, honestly. It's the blowing up, the ending of another YouTube friendship. But it didn't stop there, because after this came out, Keemstar then came out with another tweet saying that he also had GABBIE HANNA on the Mum's Basement podcast. So I think these two podcasts are going to be really explosive. I'm definitely going to listen to them because honestly, I think the sparks are going to fly in these two podcasts. This video is just a bit of a quick one. Honestly, once these podcasts come out, I think the poo is going to hit the fan, and I think there's going to be a lot of drama. I think there's going to be a lot of hurt feelings. But you know what? We love that over here. We're going to get right into it. So this video is just a bit of a quick reaction. GABBIE HANNA, of course, is very, very, very polarizing at the moment because of everything that's gone on between her and Jessie Smiles, with the whole GABBIE bringing up Jessie Smiles' trauma and everything, and being friendly with Curtis Lepore and all of that. So I'm going to be watching these podcasts and we're going to see what happens, and I'll be back with an update on this situation. Controversially, Keemstar's been showing support for GABBIE HANNA, tweeting out GABBIE HANNA is great, people love her, and also posting a picture on Instagram with GABBIE HANNA. GABBIE actually retweeted this saying, "Sorry I'm late," which was of course the title of that video that she most recently put up. There was another song where she was sitting in the bath and all that jazz. To go back to the whole Trisha paytas and Keemstar thing, here you can see Ethan Klein tweeted out that he was not even going to try and be funny. He's upset. Then in the photo, you can see that just to add insult to injury, Trisha's actually wearing a Frenemies hoodie going on the Mum's Basement podcast. Trish insists they don't like Keem. Seriously, there were multiple tweets from Trish last night. I'm not going to put all the tweets in here because, my God, we've been through all the TikToks and I think that is, enough. But look underneath this picture here and you'll see where Donna Klein, Ethan's mum, called Trisha a weasel. All this stuff's got so many people now side-eyeing Trisha paytas once again. Trisha, you heard in the TikToks there saying that this is how they stay relevant. This is what they do. They go online, they trash people. Twitter user going by the name of Kat, responding to this drama on Twitter, said, "We all saw this come in way back in January and nobody listened. Now Ethan gets to reap what he helped sow. The best part is that after all the chaos you both caused for them, Shane and Ryland are at peace and happy in Colorado, far away from any of this." Let me know what you guys think about all this drama with Trisha, Keem, GABBIE, all of this, Ethan's mum. I think it's kind of sad that Ethan's mum's getting involved. I think it's sad to see that play out online. I don't think we need to see relatives getting involved online. I know that Ethan's mum has been going on the Families podcast with Ethan, but I'm just like, damn, you're not going to be family. You'll need to chill and get family therapy and stuff and try and resolve this. Anyway, guys, let me know all your thoughts and opinions. I'm going to keep watching the situation, waiting for these podcasts to come out, and I'll be back with an update on these situations, both the GABBIE and the Trisha one. Take care, stay safe, stay well. I'll be back on camera very shortly for more videos, more drama, more tea, and some makeup stuff. See you guys soon. Thank you so much for watching. Love ya. Bye-bye.